Hello everyone and welcome to Clay Pigeon in Dorset. This is round 4 of the Formula Blue Challenge and the Sunday's Senior Blue Final. It's going to be a 10 minutes plus 1 lap sprint, and that means of course it's going to be effectively qualifying laps all the way. We're just watching now footage from onboard Russell O'Neill's number 5 kart just after he won going through the scrutineering, and the reason that we're looking at this kart is because there was quite a big accident earlier today involving 4 karts. That was Russell O'Neill and 3 others. We're about to see a replay of it actually on board with Russell O'Neill. He's just running behind Paul Alexander and suddenly he's going to find a kart right in his face as he heads through the chicane, dodges to avoid it and goes into the barrier with 3 other drivers. There you see Taylor Waldron pulling his kart back onto the track and fiddling with the front bumper, trying to get that away from under his wheels. And you've also got David Waldron there in the 14, so both Waldrons off. And if you look, as O'Neill gets going, that's Anthony Cleal to the right of him with a very mangled rear end. And if you look at that, it's quite amazing that he's managed to get it so straight before the start of the final. There's the circuit, Billy's blind, the S's, Sturmy straight, hands hairpin, the horseshoe buttons, top bend. It's a classic circuit in British karting motorsport, and here is the grid. We've got Toby Cook, followed by Anthony Cleal, Robin Stoddart Stones, Taylor Waldron, Russell O'Neill, Sarita Schoen, David Good, Kevin O'Neill, Paul Alexander, Michael Bell, Ron Schoen, Ben Pearson, Rob Mortimer and David Waldron. 13 drivers, and we're on board with Russell O'Neill just looking at the back of the 65 kart, Robin Stoddart Stones, and now we switch back to the number 12 kart. That will be Rob Mortimer, or Morty Cam if you want to give the camera its official title. Away we go on the formation lap, and away Mortimer does not go. So problems there for Rob Mortimer, and that appears to be a real issue because the kart's still not going, and he had a chain that came off in Heat 3 earlier today. Have we had more of the same? Maybe, but he's got going. So Rob Mortimer back on track, and obviously the problem wasn't too severe. You see Luck being flung off his front left tyre. And away we go on the formation lap. There you see the leaders. It's going to be Toby Cook on his right hand side in the yellow Ayrton Senna liveried helmet, as Anthony Cleal will be on his left hand side with the plain black helmet, so you can tell the two of them apart, and you'll be able to tell who's who on the opening lap of the race. And also behind them, Robin Stoddart Stones has a black helmet and Taylor Waldron a plain white one. Meanwhile, Rob Mortimer, has had another issue. You heard a little rev there, and that was his chain coming off again, I expect. So Mortimer not making the start, but whatever the case, away we go. And Toby Cook looks as if he's going to lead into turn 1. He's got the inside, and look through there to second. That is Taylor Waldron. So Waldron has jumped Anthony Cleal, and it's Cook followed by Waldron, Cleal and Stoddart Stones as we head into the hairpin for the first time. Definitely a good start for Toby Cook, but even better for Taylor Waldron. Remember, he was 4th on the grid, so making his way up through the field, and you see him there with Anthony Cleal right on his tail as we go up towards top bend for the first time. And ignore the timing sheet for now, that it's going to update at the end of this lap to a more accurate version. There we go, and have a look now at Russell O'Neill challenging Stoddart Stones, looking for a way through on the inside. He's found a gap, and through he goes into 4th position and makes it stick before the hairpin. And we head down the Sturmy straight towards the Han hairpin. Oh, it's very wide there goes Stoddart Stones, and I believe that someone got up his inside there. But whatever the case, here's a replay at the start on board with Michael Bell. That's him going around the outside of the number 15, the 15 being Kevin O'Neill, and there was another driver on the inside there as well, and that I think would have been David Good. So 2 positions made up there from Mike Bell, and he's now also got ahead of Sarita Schoen, who's dropped 2 places behind Stoddart Stones as well. So Bell making up a couple of places, and here you see his move on Sarita Schoen to the inside of turn 1, and through he goes, and up ahead of him as well. There's that will be Stoddart Stones, who he's now got past. So couple of position changes in the opening laps of the race, and we're just approaching 2 minutes in out of this 10 minutes plus 1 lap race. But now have a look at the leaders, because Taylor Waldron has taken the lead. So that's not Cook leading the race. He does come back at him there towards Billy's blind, but it appears to be Taylor Waldron leading the race, and Cook could do nothing about getting back at him there. Waldron from Cook, from Cleel, from O'Neill, then Bell at the top 5, and we're on board with O'Neill in 4th place as he has a look at the back of Cleel's car. It seems that the top 4 are getting away from 5th place as it stands, and you see Cleel there right on the back of Cook. Now what can Cook and Cleel do about getting back at Waldron? Waldron started 4th on the grid. And talking of those, they might be joined as well by Russell O'Neill before long, because O'Neill sets the fastest lap of the race that last time around. He's just chasing them down, currently in 4th position, and you see he's right on the tail of them as well. And if you look as well, 5th place Mike Bell appears to be breaking away from Stoddart Stones behind him. So it really is, there you see the gap. In fact, yeah, it is the top 5 that's really breaking away at this point in time. And side by side further back, that's a fight, I think, over 7th and 8th position. We'll update you on if there's been a change at the end of this lap. They're about to cross the line, and indeed, that was Stoddart Stones losing a place to Ben Pearson. So Pearson through into 6th position, and Stoddart Stones down into 7th place. So 3.5 minutes through this race already. We go back on board with O'Neill, and look at Cleel to the inside of Cook. Cleel gets up the inside of the horseshoe and goes through. So Anthony Cleel into 2nd position, demotes the number 4, Toby Cook. And a good move there from Anthony Cleel. Just put Cook where he didn't want him. Just put his kart, sorry, where Cook didn't want it. And O'Neill took a little look at Cook there as well. And actually, Cleel, with that, set the fastest lap of the race. So now he's managed to get past Cook, as Kevin O'Neill doesn't come through on that last lap, incidentally. But now he's got past Toby Cook. Is there a chance he can start hunting down Taylor Waldron and see what he can do about taking the lead back? I'd say it's more than likely. Out of top end they go again. O'Neill still looking at the tail of Cook's car. Cook appears to be getting away from him slightly, and again Cleel sets the fastest lap of the race, so he's definitely on a charge now, and definitely wants to get into attacking range of Taylor Waldron up front. So it's Waldron leading from Cleel, Cook and O'Neill. Let's see if that changes through the horseshoe. Very close. And Cleel taking an attacking line there. You see the body language of his kart. He's getting racy, looking for a way past, and he goes to the inside of turn 1. Anthony Cleel with another fast lap goes to the inside and takes the lead into Billy's blind. Nicely done for Anthony Cleel, passing Taylor Waldron, demoting him to 2nd and getting away. That was very, very well done, and he's got it. So a bit of jostling up and down the order. And Cleel, who started 2nd on the grid and dropped to 3rd, is now back up to the lead of the race. And can he start to pull away from Taylor Waldron? And now that Cleel has cleared Waldron, what can Cook do about possibly attempting the same thing? Ooh, more fighting further back. That was Pearson coming under attack from Stoddart Stones again. No, it wasn't actually. That was the 2 behind them. I think that would have been... ignore me, that would have been Good, and also Ron shown. Sorry about that. Whatever the case. Back up to the leading quartet. And you see the black helmet, Anthony Cleel, number 1, leading us around. Followed by Taylor Waldron in the number 10. He has a white helmet, of course. And then Cook, Ayrton Senna, liveried helmet for a yellow, number 4. And Russell O'Neill, number 5. We have a couple of families racing today. Often series like this do attract families, but we have, of course, 2 Waldrons. Taylor Waldron running in 2nd, and David Waldron running in 12th. And David, of course, is Taylor's dad. We also have 2 Shones. Ron Shone is Sarita Shone's dad. And then we have an uncle and nephew. Rob Mortimer, actually Michael Bell, his uncle. So good to see a couple of families giving it a go, and it does make it a very nice, very warm community. But also a very serious one. We take our racing very seriously, as you can see here by this fantastic fight that we've been seeing so far this race. Ron Schoen passing David Good for 9th position. Just seeing those places change as they cross the start-finish line, or at least update. I said earlier on that Kevin O'Neill had disappeared from the order. He hasn't. He's actually still lapping, but he did drop a couple of places, and I think something may have happened to him. But whatever the case, still continuing to lap in 13th position, and that's a good thing to see. Currently only one retirement, and that was Rob Mortimer, who actually failed to start the race in the end. Was going to start 13th, but his chain came loose on the opening lap of the race. And he's been having a couple of issues with that all day, so unfortunately problems with Mortimer, and no more Morty Cam for the rest of this race. So as we have just 2 minutes plus 1 lap to go in this race now, it's still close up front. You see the top 3 still going at it, and I think if a move is going to occur, it's probably going to be Cook on Waldron, because they definitely appear to be the closest at this point in time, and I'm keeping a keen eye on that just to see if they do get close enough to make a move. Of course, Cook won the Wessex final the previous day on the Saturday. Still Formula Blue, of course, but sealed the deal there. Meanwhile, there you see that's a fight going on further down the order. And at the end of another lap, still the order remains the same, just about. And I think that was, well, definitely the 2 Shones involved in that. Ron and Sarita, 8th and 9th at this point in time, 17 and 13 in terms of their kart numbers. Back to the leading quartet. You see Michael Bell sticking with them rather nicely in 5th position, probably about 2 seconds down the road, and Ben Pearson about 4 or 5 seconds behind him. They're running relatively lonely races at this point in time, but it's absolutely not lonely up front, as you can see. And with just 2 more laps remaining, Cook needs to set about pulling his move as quickly as he possibly can, because he doesn't have many more opportunities to do it, and it's a fairly tricky track to overtake at. There are a couple of overtaking opportunities. For example, down into turn 1 or Billy's Blind, you can often get alongside karts there if you get a better exit out of top curve, and then as well at the end of the Sturmey straight into the Hans hairpin, you can often pop your way up the inside of your opponent. Meanwhile, that was actually Kevin O'Neill there getting out of the way of the leaders. I was worried that it was possibly Anthony Cleal running wide, but it wasn't, so that's good. Meanwhile, on that last lap, we had a fight between David Waldron, Paul Alexander, and David Good. Good lost 2 places, Waldron gained 2, and Alexander stayed exactly where he was. So they obviously had a complete swap there, down in 10th, 11th and 12th positions. We're on the final lap of this race. It's been an exciting one. We've had a race for the lead the entire way through, and Cleo may have got through to win this race, but he was absolutely challenged by Waldron and by Cook. Great job from Waldron as well to hold off Cook, because Cook was on his tail for quite a while. But driver of the race, certainly Anthony Cleal, who takes the checkered flag and wins at Clay Pigeon, followed across the line by Waldron, Cook and O'Neill, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Michael Bell is 5th. Here comes Ben Pearson to finish 6th. But yeah, very exciting race the entire way through. And Anthony Cleal definitely well deserving of that win there. There's Robin Stoddart-Stone to finish 7th. I think he'll be slightly disappointed with that. Lost a couple of places, but still 7th, nothing to be sniffed at. And Sarita Schoen crosses the line just ahead of her dad, Ron Schoen. And then we have David Waldron, Paul Alexander, David Good and Kevin O'Neill. You're about to see the official finishing order come up on the screen. But yeah, a really, really intense race the entire way through. Cook was on pole, of course. Tony Cook was passed early on. And there's where Morty Cam ended up, just recording from the side of the track, after he unfortunately retired from this race before it had even begun, and that was a real shame for Rob Mortimer. But yeah, whatever the case, Waldron got through to the lead early on. From 4th on the grid, jumped to 2nd on the opening lap, then passed Cook for the lead, before Cleo passed both of them. And there you see the finishing margin. Great fastest lap as well from Anthony Cleo, 36.6. As nearest makes no difference. And you see how close it is between the leaders there. The top, goodness me, the top 6 all in the the late 36.5s or the 36.6s. And there's also a couple of other quick times from other drivers, but whatever the case, that's the end. And we will see you next time from Mansell for the O-Plate final, so one of the big ones, and that's going to be definitely worth tuning in for. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you then. Good night.